What do you think the chances are that you and or Donald Trump are in prison a year or two from now?
Well, I'll tell you, if I thought I was going to prison, I would probably be on the beach somewhere, but relaxing.
Okay,
No,
Randy, put your cup down and turn around. Ma'am?
no. Let go of me. You let go of me. Let go of me. Let go of me.
What it do, what the business is, people? It's your boy That Way with Jack Travis. Jack Travis to be precise, man. You know how we do, you know how we doing it. Back in this thing again, is you understanding me, man? All right. Today is going to be an episode called F.A.F.O. You dig? You know what those letters stand for? You F-U-C-K around and you find out. Huh? One Tina Peters is the topic of this episode. I'm sure you all don't know who she is, but by the time we finish with this episode, you will be well versed on Miss Tina Peters. All right. Before we jump into that, though, as always, if you like what I'm doing on this channel, like and subscribe, get me more into the algorithm, and we will go accordingly. Now, without further ado, we go back to Miss Tina Peters. Now, Tina Peters is what you call an Ultra Maga, right? We're all familiar with these people. You could also call them deplorables, which the interchangeable terms, whichever one tickles your fancy, right? So Miss Tina Peters was one of the foremost election deniers. We've all heard the nightmares and we've all seen the fallout from the election deniers, January 6th, all the various conspiracy theories, the Jewish space lasers, and apparently nowadays, the Democrats are manipulating hurricanes in order to interfere with the election. So be on the lookout again, people. We've got more bullshit coming, so just stay tuned. But Miss Tina Peters, 70-year-old woman out of Arizona, will now spend the next 9 years of her life in federal prison. Now, 9 years for a 70-year-old. I don't disagree with the sentencing. I'm just opining on a 70-year-old doing 9 years in the feds. Don't sound good for Miss Peters. Maybe she'll make it out on these streets and maybe may have changed her mind, her outlook on things, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that she changes her outlooks, and I doubt that she comes out of there in 9 years. But we'll wait and see. All right. Why was she given 9 years? Right? Well, we've got a couple of videos that's going to illustrate, at least, her arrest, the trial. Judge is going to detail what got her into this predicament. But what righteously got her into this predicament is a guy that goes by the initials of DJT, Donald J. Trump. Countless individuals have been incarcerated behind his claims of the election being stolen. Countless thousands of individuals have gone to jail over their antics up there on January the 6th. And he just continues to run people down through that, man. This is a very interesting time to be alive. Because you look at what's going on these days and just the cognitive dissonance, man, the willing ignorance that you see from people is truly embarrassing, man, that you think about these are the people we have to share the great land of the United States of America. And I said, yes, great land. America is the greatest country on earth. I don't want to live anywhere else, nor do I owe anyone that type of leeway to go and live anywhere else. I was born here, I was brought here, I'm here, I'm thriving, I'm doing my thing, I'm in here to win it. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not about wanting to go somewhere else, but there is something to be said about the infrastructure and the workings of the United States. Well, in this instance, judges and policemen aren't people that I usually have in high regard. But this judge right here, he cooking, cuz I ain't gonna hold you. He cooking. I'm loving every second of what I'm seeing from bro. So, without further ado, man, we're gonna jump into the first video we have. It's gonna start out with the video of her arrest. Here's some time back, and then we will progress on into other things as we move along. So, here we go.
Okay, Randy, put your cup down and turn around. Ma'am?
Let go of me. You let go of me. me! Give me my key!
Do you understand?
Stop it! No, let go of me! Yes, you are, Caleb! Give me my key to my car! Give me my key to my car! Give me my key to my car! Give it to me! Give me my key!
Stay out of here. Step outside for me, please.
Take my purse! Let go of me! You're hurting me! And I'm going to show all the bruises that you put on me.
If you're not going to cooperate, you'll
Let
be charged
go
with
of me.
obstructing.
Let go of
You
me!
understand that?
You let go of me now.
No, ma'am.
You're bruising me! Let go
Stop
of
pulling
me!
against us.
I'm not pulling against you! Let go of
Then
me!
stand up like an adult.
Shut up! What an asshole thing to say to me.
You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's with a heavy heart that I hear the vile accusations and the anger levied against me for what I did to serve the people of Mesa County. Maintaining my innocence is not disrespect for the law.
You know, I wonder, is Tina Peters related to Stu Peters? This guy. But I digress.
But in reality, for those of you who may have been here earlier this morning and seen some of the folks who've occupied that chair before Miss Peters, there could be not much in the way of a comparison in terms of the type of sympathy one would extend to Miss Peters. Those folks didn't have 4 lawyers representing them. They didn't have a team of assistants helping them. They're not getting rides in private jets all over the country.
Nah, I ain't gonna hold you, my nigga. Judge cooking. Judge getting her all the business that she ever thought she want. You a charlatan. And absolutely, I love that word. That is the perfect word for these snake oil salesmen of the day. He absolutely cooking her, man. I don't know what he identifies politically, and I really don't care. As long as he identifies as a person that is sick of the bullshit and willing to, he being a white guy, he can talk to her. That's kind of like auntie or grandma look, you know what I'm saying? He can really get in her ass. He can go and tell her how she's supposed to be told. You dig what I'm saying? And she has to receive it from him. You know what I mean? She can't quote a bias. Maybe she'll say he's on a different side of the political spectrum, but he cooking her ass, bro. And, he really saying good words, bro. And a lot of people say this all the time, but again, the cognitive dissonance, man, just the constant moving of the goalposts, the whataboutism, it's just a sight to behold, but Judge is not letting her motherfucking off the hook. You dig what I'm saying? And she just continues, as you will see, man, like it's not going through her head. But I commend this judge, because he really is treating this spade like a spade. You dig what I'm saying? 9 years a slave is the vibe that I get from it.
You don't have those histories of drug and alcohol abuse. There's no lifetime of trauma, not even close to the type of mitigating circumstances I would see from many folks who sit in that chair. No, to the contrary, Ms. Peters, you are a privileged person. You are as privileged as they come. And you use that privilege to obtain power, a following, and fame. And to be sure, there's no doubt in my mind that it's exactly what you wanted, and it defies all sense of common sense to believe when you suggested to me a few moments ago that you didn't want this attention. No, you crave it, ma'am. And there is no one in this courtroom who would consider that to be anything other than the absolute truth. But to get to the point of what it is that you did here, it's my impression distinctly that you never took your job of clerking particularly seriously. You didn't complete the certification. One scandal after another followed you in your time as the clerk. And ultimately, it was a belief that the echo chamber in which you live couldn't be wrong, among other things, that led you to do what you did here. This thought process, unfortunately, seems to consume so many in our country, regardless of race, gender, political affiliation, or the like, that what it is we hear and think can't possibly be wrong. In your world, it's all about you. But at bottom, this case was about your corrupt conduct and how no one is above the law. No one in this country has absolute power. Your position as a clerk and recorder, a constitutional position, does not provide you with a means by which to do your own investigation, to not listen to the judiciary, to not listen to the executives higher than you, to not listen to the legislature who sets the law as it may be. This is nonsense. Our system of government can't function when people in government think that somehow, some way, the power they've been given is absolute in all respects. And that's where you fell. You have no respect for the checks and balances of government. You have no respect for this court. You have no respect for law enforcement. And you do not have respect for your fellow colleagues when you were a clerk and recorder who weren't lockstep in your beliefs.
So Scott McGinnis said that they have not seen one fraudulent vote. But I would argue with that, because just because you don't acknowledge and you're blind to the truth, it doesn't mean that the truth is not there.
Yes. So as you can see, the truth is there. You just can't see it. You're not as enlightened as us Ultra Maga conservatives. And I guess, ultra bright, the evangelical right, and God is on their side. God is coming out, tapping them on the shoulder, telling them that, who's going to win the election, what's really going on with these politicians. And it's just always a spin and a pivot, man. So again, Judge brings up the various facts, various documents, that go against completely what she's saying, not to mention all the court cases that fell out of court or didn't even be entertained. But she's not having any of it, man. You know what I mean? She's not having any of it. Her pivot is, no, what I'm saying is the absolute truth. The documents that we found, the evidence that we present is the absolute truth. But when you're as stupid a person as someone outside of me, you can never, there's no way that you could see it. Your brain just doesn't work like that. Your eyes aren't wired correctly. My brain is fully functional, and it's led me through critical thinking to come to this place right here. And your problem is you just can't see it because you're just not on the level. And it's odd to me, man, how a person could believe something so heinous as big time politicians and celebrities are killing kids and extracting their blood for a chemical called adrenochrome that they take and they drink it, and it's like the fountain of youth, keeps them young forever. The type of person that can believe something like that, man, and run with it, I don't know if it's lack of critical thinking or abundance of cult-like thinking. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can go as far as to believe that, but you couldn't believe that a particular politician has no interest in you and he's just grifting for the job, for the money. I don't think any of these J6s or election deniers, I don't think any of them have been bonded out of jail. There's a lot of parameters you need to look at when you're trying to validate whether or not you're in a cult, whether or not you've got cult-like personalities, whether or not you're being duped. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it takes a certain amount of critical thinking to go down these rabbit holes and formulate an opinion. So you're telling me you can't apply that to just real life solid situations, look at the facts? It's a crazy world we in right now, man. But we're going to get into the rest of this video, and we're going to wrap it up here shortly. But this is going to get into more of the judge letting her have it and handing down her sentence, and then we're going to come in and talk about it and wrap this thing up. Let's go.
You you wonder why when Scott McGinnis says that there's never been any fraudulent vote found, it's because they replaced the machines. They took the evidence out of Mesa County Dominion voting system and put new machines. And you know what I told the candidates that year? I said they were running, a lot of good candidates were running for school board. I said, you don't have to worry about this election. They are not going to cheat during this election. So all that hand counting, all that stuff, I knew they weren't going to cheat. But we have the evidence that they did. Here's the other thing. February 28th, 2022, brought another report. You know what this report showed? There were 36 wireless devices. So when you hear Dr. Frank talk about wireless devices in these machines, they're there. As a matter of fact, now they admit that there's wireless devices. And Matt Crane with the Colorado County Clerks Association and the Secretary of State just says, well, just turn them off. I was never taught, none of the other clerks, I'm sure Dallas Schroeder can testify, were never told to turn off, because these machines cannot be certified if they have wireless devices inside or have the capability.
I've let you go on enough about this, but the votes are the votes. You still didn't answer the question. If this is my ballot and I put it in the machine, whatever it tabulates is whatever it tabulates.
No, it doesn't. It changes.
It's not letting me finish.
Okay,
whatever
please.
it tabulates is whatever it tabulates. My hand vote, my ballot remains the same. They counted those ballots. Did they not? Indeed, just weeks before trial, you were apparently doing what I mentioned earlier, that is, over at the clerk and recorder's office where you're not supposed to be, violating the protection order by speaking to employees of that entity with your camera crew in tow. You have no qualms with violating the court's orders because you're innocent, because you didn't do anything wrong. You were just doing your job. You have no problem trying to kick an officer. Your explanation about what happened is preposterous. It's on video. You have no problem lying to officers. It's happened multiple times. They're recorded conversations. It's just more lies. No objective person believes them. No, at the end of the day, you cared about the jets, the podcasts, and the people fawning over you. You abdicated your position as a servant to the Constitution, and you chose you over all else. Yes, you are a charlatan, and you cannot help but lie as easy it is for you to breathe. You betrayed your oath for no one other than you. And this is what makes Miss Peters such a danger to our community. It's the position she held that has provided her the pulpit from which she can preach these lies. The undermining of our democratic process, the undermining of the belief and confidence in our election systems. It's not about questioning it. No one says you can't question, you can't ask. It's completely different. And if you don't understand I can say or do here today, that will change your mind. So the damage that is caused and continue to be caused is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical violence that this court sees on an all too regular basis. And it's particularly damaging when those words come from someone who holds a position of influence like you. Every effort to undermine the integrity of our elections and public's trust in our institutions has been made by you. You've done it from that lectern the voting public provided you with. Everything you've done has been done to retain control, influence. The damage is immeasurable. And every time it gets refuted, every time it's shown to be false, just another tale is weaved. So I'll begin by saying I've considered all of those purposes of staying of an execution of a sentence. I've mentioned all of them here generally in my comments already, and I find that a stay of any sentence I impose would be wholly unwarranted. All cases have a possibility of reversal on appeal, no doubt. I'm at peace with all of the decisions I've made here. If anything, I gave you and your counsel far too much leeway at times, but the rulings I made came after much consideration, incredible amounts of internal debate, and I trust in accordance with the applicable law. And prison is for those folks where we send people who are a danger to all of us, whether it be by the pen or the sword or the word of the mouth. Prison is where folks go, where punishment is what we're focused on, because the crime committed is so significant that anything less would unduly mitigate the seriousness of the same. I mentioned before there are no mental health concerns. There's no good reason why you're here, Ms. Peters, other than these are all the active decisions that you made. So prison is the only place that duly meets the purposes of sentencing in this matter. And therefore the sentence and judgment of the court is as follows. As to counts 1 and 4, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years in the Department of Corrections. Those sentences will be concurrent to each other. As to count 2, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years consecutive to counts 1 and 4. As it relates to the misdemeanor charges, count 8 is 120 days in the Mesa County Detention Facility, concurrent to count 9 and 10, which will be 6 months in the Mesa County Detention Facility, consecutive to the prison sentence. The reason those sentences are consecutive is because those sentences are, as the prosecution stated, directly related to what it is that you did here in our community, the damage you caused this community, the breach of your oath to the electorate in Mesa County. Your sentence will be followed by 3 years of parole. You have 2 days of pre-sentence confinement credit. Anything I missed? Anything else we need to address?
Judge, I think you missed a sentencing on count 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Count 6 is criminal impersonation. That's also consecutive. That's 15 months to the Department of Corrections.
And the cost
So it's 8.5 years total, plus the 6 months for a total of 9 years of incarceration.
All right, man. So in summation, 70-year-old Tina Peters sentenced to 9 years federal prison. As you can see in her rebuttal or her remarks, her replies to the judge, to the courts, it's just along the same lines. What about is moving the goalpost, swearing that they're factual, everyone else is wrong. I mean, very smart people that can look into all different kinds of sources. But according to Tina Peters, there's no way. There's no way that they don't see what she sees. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing goes in about 30 days, man. I have an idea on how the election is going to go, but I'm more interested in just seeing what the other side is going to do, the side that loses. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it's going to be any kind of a protesting in the streets or any kind of smoke like that. I think January 6th kind of killed that for all parties involved. There would be any, you know. Now, we had some of the Hamas, Israel protesters here a couple of months ago, but that was a small section. They were just out there, maybe burned a flag or two. But as far as running through the streets, running up into a government building, I think it's a dub for that shit. I think they're going to start shooting motherfuckers the minute they get outside. You know what I'm saying, on the concourse. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. But Tina Peters, she's got 9 years to sit back and think about her decisions. I suggest that she takes care of her body in those 9 years, because prison, they don't feed you well. There's no health care in prison. They don't mind you getting sick and dying. You dig what I'm saying? So, you know, I guess good luck to her. But these are the things that happen, man, when you fail to use your maximum brain power. They said we only use 70% of our brain, but when you're only using 30%, with another 40 capable of being accessed, and you just choose not to access it, we can't feel sorry for you. And I know Miss Peters, she's got grandbabies out here. You know, I know how grandparents are about their grandkids, and you know, she's got daughters and sons, I think she said her son is passed away. So maybe she doesn't have those kind of people that are looking forward to her coming home and missing her and things like that. But sure, she's got plenty of other chill buddies, man, that are not going to feel well about this decision, because she's not the only one going through trial. You know, there was a clip when I first started. It wasn't Steve Bannon. It was another guy asking her about, you know, what does she think the chances of her and Donald Trump being in jail about a year from now is. Well, she's headed to prison. I truly believe that Donald Trump is going to prison after this election. Sometime after this election, I think he's going to jail. Steve Bannon is in jail. I could name countless others. You know what I'm saying? I won't even go down the list of them. But you know, it's interesting, man. I've never seen a time in life where people were so willing to just kill everything that they've worked for in life, man. All of the outlooks and camaraderies they've built over the years, they're so willing to throw it away just because of, I don't even know what he's doing. I guess it's what he's saying out here, but you still have to go home and live a real life. You know, for all the people talking about how bad the economy is and eggs and bread and all of that, listen, bro, every time I go to the grocery store, and I live in a small town where there ain't a whole bunch of people balling, every time I go to the grocery store, it's packed. I have not yet to see an argument in the grocery store over these egg prices. I hadn't seen anyone on the corner begging for milk. I hadn't seen people sitting at the gas pump not being able to put gas in their car. In fact, gas is like $2.59 a gallon, depending on where you shop, but it's in and around there. If you go and look into the numbers that are actually being put out, some of these organizations, man, they indicate an upward trend in everything. Crime going down, you know, economy doing well, stock numbers and all of that. So, but you have a contingent of individuals, man, that just refuse to accept that. They call it a narrative, and they get in their bag, and the next thing you know, the Democrats are pedophiles and do these things to kids. They don't care about the American people, and it's just like, go outside, man. Go outside and live life, breathe air, and you will see that there's no people on the side of the road on the highway running out of gas. Gas stations are still packed. Eateries are still packed. Malls are still packed. We're doing a lot better than people would have you to believe. So, again, man, this is a perfect example of F.A.F.O. So, Miss Tina Peters, we wish you well in your next 9 years as a slave. Get a little picture, get a little taste of what it's like, and we'll see if there's any updates. But until then, this has been That Way with Jack Travis. I'll let your boy loud.